those of you who don't know, I am the guy who is responsible for all the videos you saw at the beginning of the panel. Over the course of the run of Babylon 5, Joe Straczynski hired me every year to do several of these to help promote the show and eventually to sell the show to TNT, which at the time was a good idea. But, as we probably all know, you guys are not here to see me. I'm just basically here to introduce the cast of Babylon 5. And we're going to do that right away with this next clip I did. We have to start off the show and get everybody excited for everyone. So if you'll hit the next thing here, we will get going. Years ago, in a small warehouse, or a small studio in California, they shot the pilot of Babylon 5. This is the slate from that pilot. So I'm going to start this reunion this right now. So we're going to bring in the cast here. I'd like to start off with the captain of a certain station, Mr. Bruce Boxleinter. Ranger Marcus Cole. Jason Parker, would you get up here, please? Susan Laura, Miss Claudia Christian, please come on stage. We'll come back. She is here. Joshua Coxx. Please come on stage and join us. I think we have another telephone coming up next. Byron, Mr. Robin Atkins. We need some television coverage from this. Let's get a news reporter out here. Maggie Egan, please. Ambassador in the universe, Miss Mira Furlan. Jurasik. We're all going to be really friends by the time this is over. Mondo, I think you need somebody to play cards with. Billy Mumy, please get up here. Patricia Tailman. We're all going to be real friendly out here today. Come on, please keep this organization in order. Marshall Teague. The last name begins with a T. It's Andrea Thompson. Please, big round for everybody. Again. We may need to steal some seats in the audience. Again, everybody got a seat?
Let's try to go down.
I'll steal one.
Everybody good? I'm good.
It's good that you're all friends.
Wow.
You got it all.
All right. We've got mics up on the counters there where you guys just reach up and pass them around whenever you need them. But that's me. I'll get to this one. But to start it off, because basically I just have to wind these guys up and let them go. So guys, I'm just going to wind you guys up and let you go. Hey, can you jump in? Yes.
No, I just can't hear anything you're saying.
We're both deaf, so it's all right.
Oh God, y'all.
Pay attention.
There's no floor monitors? Oh. I don't think it's wrong. I think so.
If you turn around one of those a little bit towards us.
Guys, can we have the floor? Do we have floor monitors, guys?
Sorry, Captain.
Let's let the sound engineers do this. Floor monitor?
Hello. Wave, everybody. Not you. What do we got here? It's amazing what a shy group we are. You
I
guys
think it's just like these power people on camera.
That's right. You happy now?
Does that work? You know, here? Okay. Peter, that was him. He called your name, not me. We'll make two. So,
Yes. Tell me when the joke's on.
I'll tell you when the joke's are.
all right, guys, there's mics in front of you.
Testing.
All right. So, Bruce, what is your what is your one defining memory of the show? And that will keep us going, and you guys have a lot more.
Defining memory of the show.
The defining memory, the defining moment of the entire show.
Why do I have to be first?
Because you're right next to me.
Defining moment. Help me out, kids. What? Yes, that's a good one.
Next question.
You guys know it better than we do, I guarantee you. That was probably a defining moment for me, leaping off a ledge into a pile of boxes. Cardboard boxes, and then later seeing the show, and I'm leaping into some hole, and going down and down and down forever, and I thought I was probably fired and never coming back. So, but story-wise, yes. Thank you very much for that help. Probably my leap to death and Zadadoom, and the culmination of all that was very defining moment for me.
Let's see, the latex, the glue. Meeting Bill Mumy my very first day, and he's looking at me and I'm looking at him going, what have we done? We have agreed to be glued for the next however many days. No, meeting Andreas, and realizing that my very first scene was to try and kick the crap out of him. So I would say that set the tone for my irreverent, fun, great writing, and getting to do things that most women don't get to do in Hollywood. So it was really good. Joe wrote really great, strong, crazy women. Look at all this.
A defining moment. Well, one of them's not here.
Go on.
It was only one moment. See, I didn't have to say anything. Everybody knows. It was a defining moment in life to meet all these people because look how many of us still know each other. I mean, holidays, times we've spent together. Yeah, conventions. And to get to come in and see all of you over and over and over again. Yeah, and I can tell you how grateful I am for that because I don't even see family members that often. Yeah.
Oh, goodness. Defining moment. I don't know. I suppose it was going through the wardrobe fitting, having just been cast in a science fiction show, and thinking, oh God, I would look terrible in lycra. And luckily, they dressed me as if I was going to play Hamlet. It was later revealed that I was Hamlet the Virgin, which was probably true. I think it was a defining moment was when I was declared a virgin. Okay.
I thought you were going to say when you died.
I was going to say it, but that's such a downer.
Yeah. The defining moment for me was our very first convention in England, and that's when I realized that the show really was making an impact on some people somewhere in the world, because in America, we were never on at the same time. We were always interrupted by the Lakers games in Los Angeles. So my friends thought I was lying when I said I was on a TV show. But when's it on? I said, Wednesday at 7:30. They said, that's BS. There's a basketball game on all night long. So it was very impressive being in England and having thousands of people lined up for us. Peter and I looked at each other and went, are they really here for us? So I think that was a defining moment.
Blackpool was definitely a mind blower, but I might not have made it to Blackpool if Claudia hadn't shouted very loudly. I've said it before and told it before, probably half of you heard this yesterday. When are we going to get Josh a name? I'd say that was a pretty defining moment for me. Because before then, and that shout was taken up, he was just Tech 1 or Tech 2, depending on where we started in the series. So I would say therein lies the beginning of all the good thereafter, and all this is fun as well, and getting to work with all these people. So it was a good moment. I'd probably say first defining moment was realizing that I just made love to 150 telepaths. Actually, the defining moment for me on the show was after playing Midbari and auditioning. It was the audition for Byron, and I was very nervous. It was my first television series, and I stayed up all night working on the lines and going into the audition. And when I got the call that I received the role, it was an amazing moment, and I had no idea what a great experience this is for me.
And how was it meeting me? I remember Fern Champion running down the hall. She's our casting director, and she said, "You're gonna love me forever." It's pretty much true. Yeah, I think it's a defining moment for me was walking on the pilot set for Babylon 5 in Santa Clarita and seeing all of the concept art and reading Joe's script for the audition, just going, wow, this is way too good. It will never cast me. A star will get this. This is the best script I've ever read.
A star did.
Yeah. Oh.
just now. I was looking at my iPhone and I skipped the line, and I apologize profusely. We have one more guest here who I accidentally skipped, and I did not intend to do that. Please come out on stage. Miss Bridget Flanery. I'm so sorry. This one is completely my fault. You may kill me later. We will. Thank you.
Not okay.
Are you telling me now I gotta pick this ball back up and run with it?
Yes, ma'am.
I gotta follow Bridget, who we all are breaking our hearts over. And now what do I have to go French kiss somebody? I mean, what? What else volunteers to say more? Well, come on then. Oh my God, a defining moment, I think. It's come a bit late, but I believe this is my defining moment. I was usually on the set before any of the major stars because they're like, get that news thing out of the way, let the other people sleep in. So I didn't see much of you guys. So for me to be here, honestly, I'm feeling the love. I'm feeling the love. It's really nice. And I guess the other defining moment would be, you got the job. I was thrilled. I thought it was a one-time thing. So imagine my amazement that I, was on every season and crusade. I mean, I honestly didn't. For me, this is a big deal. I'm very grateful to be here, and thank you.
The defining moment is Andreas in his G-car makeup and costume, smoking one of 100 cigarettes that he smoked a day, leaned on the wall of the bathtub jacuzzi facility, factory that we worked in. Just seeing him there with such dignity, great, incredible actor, fully covered with latex, smoking.
What was the question again? My funny moment was when I got the part, which was very strange. I'm going to try to make it fast because there's so many of us. I had this audition for something called Babylon 5. I had no idea what it was. And I go into the audition room and there's these 25 other actors with their hair pointed straight up like Patti LaBelle. And I have my hair normal and I'm thinking, oh my God, I'm missing something. So I run to the restroom. And I go to the restroom and I use this soap dispenser. And I'm spiking my hair with the soap and my hand touching my eye. And the water's coming out of my eye, it's red, and they call my name and I went in there and I felt that I owed them an explanation. And I said, oh, I'm so sorry, I knew nothing about the hair. And I went into the bathroom with the soap dispenser and it got my eye. And they stopped and they said, oh my God, it's beer.
Would you laugh and applaud? Please, I can't follow it. I can't do defining moments in the show, but the defining moment of that time for me was when my son was born in '96.
Defining moment. Whatever Mira said is correct.
First, best defining moment. You're looking at it. This is it. Defining moment. The first frame of the first show of Babylon 5 that was ever shot to the very last. That's an honor, especially with this group. That's my defining moment.
My defining moment was much like Stephen's, only without the soap. It was my audition getting the job because Joe had told Jerry, thanks a lot for coming, Jerry. No, he told Jerry, he said, you know what, she's been too cool and too collected. This was the 4th audition. Get her as bad as you can. All the TNT suits, the Warner Brothers suits, everyone's in the room. And Jerry gets in my face and changes the lines and pushes me and steps on my feet. And I say, Mr. Garibaldi, I'm going to have to ask you to kiss my Texas ass. I walked out of the room and turned out the lights and left them all in the dark. And after someone had stumbled back and turned the lights on, Jerry turned to everyone and said, I voted her the least likely to sleep with me, but the best captain.
Well, I only did 1 episode, so my defining moments are limited comparatively, but I would say that I will never forget that after I was cast, they told me that Tracy wanted to meet me prior to us shooting together, and I was really scared. And so they took me backstage to meet her, and I remember her coming through a door, and with her big, beautiful green eyes just looking at me and saying, oh my God, I'm so glad they cast you, and coming over and throwing her arms around me and welcoming me. And I knew then that we were going to have a really lovely shoot together because she was so kind and so lovely.
That would be not getting picked up to series. Defining moment. I feel like I'm like the ugly second cousin twice removed over here. I'm sorry, we let the team down. Okay, so if that's not it, it would have to be at some point early on having great sympathy with William Shatner and realizing how tough it is to get captain when you're stuck in a chair the entire episode. You know how hard it is to act and be kind of, you know, commanding and dramatic and maybe fearful, and you've got like basically nothing to do, right? Method hemorrhoid. You get really good at the lean, right? The one hand to lean in. Yeah, it's Shatner led the way. Coffee just spilled the whole time. That's all I can do.
Let's have a second and remember our good friends Michael O'Hare, Rick Biggs, Andreas Katsoulis, Jeff Conway, Tim Schultz.
Work with Andreas on air. What was he like, even in the days of the Rangers show?
Yeah, I mean, everybody knows what a great actor Andreas was, right? I mean, we've been hearing about it all weekend. It was obviously a great privilege for me. Honestly, I was a little nervous. I knew who he was. You know, obviously as an actor, he had a great body of work behind him outside of Babylon, obviously. And he was just so gracious, completely humble. I mean, here's like a really, really talented actor, right? Playing, you know, quite an iconic character. I'm the new kid on the block. I didn't know that much about Babylon, and he was just so welcoming, and he made the job really easy, and I was really appreciative of it. But I was very cognizant that whenever I wasn't on camera, I was just kind of just watching him work like a student, you know. I think that's what all actors do when you get to work opposite someone that's just really special. And he was amazing. So I feel really privileged for the experience.
My first day with Andreas, as nice as everybody was, I mean, they couldn't have been any nicer. But Andreas was the one that made me feel at home, and I'll tell you why. Peter, being the Southern gentleman or whatever, wherever he's from. New York. We were
office, and there weren't enough chairs for everyone to sit, and it was my first day of working. So Peter gets up and says, "Here, Tracy, please take my chair." And before I could get to it, Andreas rushes in and sits down. And Peter goes, "Andreas, dude, what the hell are you doing?" She goes, "She's family. I wouldn't get it for anybody else."
Since we can tell these Andreas anecdotes or pieces, first day, you know, I mean, I became Talon after Bruce beat the crap out of me with a piece of pipe. And Talon, and I walked on the set the first day, and he looked at me, and as we had the sword on, we put our eyes in, and addressed him as Jakar. He says, "I understand you're here to watch my back." And I said, "Just make sure you don't run into my back with that blade." I said, "You're covered." He said, "Not too much, though." A gentleman, though, a true gentleman.
Well, actually, Marshall, as long as we got you on real quick, something's, Josh said just a moment ago, tied in with that. You know, one of the things that was real important with Joe's names, you know, he placed an emphasis on names, and you told me the story earlier that the naming of Talon had a special, about the sword?
Well, if you take Talon, when we created the character, Bruce was very instrumental in it. When we thought, we went to Joe, talked to him about it, and he said, create his persona, thus the blade, thus the name, Talon, the talent. So this was something Joe just had the ability to create in his mind, and I thank Bruce for that, and being brought with this group, and it's just been an honor. I got to tell you, working with everybody, there's not a day that is not, there's not a story about a day that we shot that someone can't share some part of that. So share one, Billy.
No, I'm sure we got some questions or something coming, right, John? Yeah. Just waiting for a question.
Let the audience ask.
Yes. I mean, do we have any questions from the audience? We've got this one. We're going to bring right over.
Can I tell a story? One quick story though about names.
Yeah, I was going to go to you next because
we can't hear very well.
I'm sorry.
Is about names that Joe came up with.
Right, and you told a story earlier about your name in the show.
I didn't even know I had a name until years later. I went to a convention and an actor said, someone at the convention said to me, "Well, yeah, you had a name." I said, "No, I don't think I did. I was just the ISN news anchor." And she went, No. Remember when everything was falling down and you said, "Janie," you know, it's the only time I knew I had a name. And I have no last name, so I've decided it's Italian, no last name.
Well, this next thing is not really a question, but we, as several people have mentioned, we have several people that are not here. Jerry did not make it. Joe did not make it, but Joe is somewhat here. I believe he has something for you, Mr. Boxleinter.
Joe emailed me. I think they can hear me. Joe emailed me and he asked me to read this. So don't boo me. I don't like it. I read through it once. This is going to be a fairly cold reading. All right. Now, Joe has a very interesting sense of humor, right? All right, everyone. Please, if you can, stand up. We all standing? Now sit down. According to him, you people take orders easily, and this is how fascism starts. Babylon 5 was about resisting authority figures. Clearly you haven't been paying attention. Now I would just like to say the following. Wibble, wibble, wobble, piff, piff, whoopee, piff. But I'm just reading it. That doesn't mean anything. I just want to be able to watch Bruce saying this on YouTube.
Yep.
Said worse on YouTube, Bruce.
Yes, I did. Yes. I've been saying Neal ever since. I say for the next 10 years because once our transmissions and internet reach surpass the limits of the solar system, those words will trigger an interstellar war with another species. And that's pretty much it for the human race. So for those of you with 401ks that will mature after 2024, you're SOL. I cleaned that up. Now here's an exercise. Everyone raise your right hand. Seriously. Raise your right hand. Put your hands down again. Have you learned nothing? Authority figure. Pointless orders. Next thing you know, there's flags and banners and someone's invading Poland, and sooner or later somebody's going to lose an eye. Never do something just because someone in authority tells you to do it. Resistance is the highest form of patriotism. Now, it's serious, okay? I wish I could be there with you. Well, up here on the stage looking out at you from a distance. Somehow that seems safer for all of us. But alas, as Bruce reads these words, piff, wobble, wibble, I am in London for production meetings for Sense8, a new TV series I'm writing and producing for Netflix with Lana and Andy Wachowski, creators of the Matrix trilogy and all around swell people. So all I can do is convey by proxy my best wishes to the Space City Con organizers and to you in the audience who have stepped away from the safety and sanity of your lives to associate with actors. It's okay, we've all sinned. Actually, yes, I do go on forever, right? Peter, try to stay awake. Anyway, actually, I do have one other thought, and it goes on for a page, okay? That's cool. Consider the people arranged here on the stage before you, including me. Well, not me, Bruce me, that's reading this. Not that he's me, but I'm him for the purposes of this. Fine, just look up here, okay? Writers make black marks on pieces of paper. Actors breathe life into those words, transmuting those marks into something resembling art. A scriptwriter without actors is like a bicycle without wheels, birds without wings, Congress without stupidity. The greatest gift I have ever received in 30 plus years of writing has been the opportunity to work with the people on this stage. An amazing collection of talented actors and actresses. Yes, well, and Jerry. Is he here? What they will not tell you, but which I will force Bruce to tell you, is that all reports to the contrary notwithstanding, actors are human. They catalog and contain the same abilities, fears, foibles, and magnificent fractures as the rest of the human race. They are fragile as flesh is fragile. They are loving as their hearts may chance to love, and they strive ever upward toward perfection as their spirits demand. They are here today to celebrate with you the work, the spirit of that work, and the space between the work and the audience where something wonderfully close to magic happens. Between handshakes and autographs, the flash of cameras and the beat of the heart, Step back and freeze the moment so you can consider it in the future, turning it this way and that, like a gemstone. Remember their faces, their spirits, their hearts, because whether you realize it or not, they will remember yours. Because whether you realize it or not, they love you, whether they admit it or not. We all do. Hold that miracle close to your heart, for love is rare and wonderful and ridiculously hard to find with just one other person. And here it is, with everyone in this room. It binds us and heals us and makes us one. Remember the faces before you and hold them forever in your hearts, in memory, still bright. Now, stand up. Seems there's hope, even for people like us. Joseph.
Moment.
By Grab Thor's hammer. They shall be avenged.
Yeah, she's watching it.
So, can everybody say, thank you, Joe?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, as we all know, Joe was one hell of a writer, and he also had the ability to take a lot of stuff that was in y'all's lives and somehow work it into the show. And Mira, I believe, any of you can jump in on this, but Mira, there were times you said in the past where some of the stuff that Joe was writing was mirroring what you were going through, had been going through back home?
Well, I mean, but it was not particularly about me. It was, you know, he's a writer who observes all the time, and what he observes he puts in his writing. And so I think each of our characters was somehow informed and inspired by our, I don't know, real self. So, I mean, all these separations are, in my opinion, you know, unimportant because we are what we are, and somehow it all melts into one thing, which is the character you play. Something like that.
That's pretty good. Is there anything he ever wrote that any of y'all balked at? I mean, was there something that you ever thought with him on, or anybody?
We can't hear you. Okay, this is. Can I just report from the trenches of? We can't hear anything. We can barely hear, but not. I mean, I can't understand what anybody's saying. So there is a problem with the sound. I'm so sorry.
Guys, you need to take the echo down.
Actually, I can understand people out there. It's only up here that I can't hear. I can understand the things that were said out there.
We just need to turn around one of the speakers so we can hear ourselves.
We also could be actors and just talk. Can you hear us?
Does anybody have any questions from the audience? Anybody raise your hand? There you go. Okay, good. You over there. In the middle, right there in the middle. Just like that.
Come on up here. We've got a mic up here. Do we have any good Richard Biggs stories? This is from the audience. Jason, tell us a Richard Biggs story.
What?
Richard Biggs story.
I haven't got a microphone, but who needs a microphone? Because they obviously don't.
Pass the mic down.
It's okay. Rick Biggs is really it's convention circuits, really. We're on the convention. I didn't know about doing conventions, and I'd always done theatre and stuff like that, so I could walk out of the stage and play a part. But this was going to conventions, and you walk out and you've got to be yourself, with no lines. Who the hell am I? So it was early on in the convention game, and there was that big one that we did, for me, it was the first one I did, which was in London. And unfortunately, we had an hour on the stage speaking. Well, this is really a rich big story, but kind of, it's Peter Jurasik. I followed Peter Jurasik, who did 40 minutes without fielding a question. And I'm following him, so that was terrifying. And I can't do it without anyone who got any questions, that's the first thing I said. But no, I was in a situation at the convention, and it was early on in the show, so we were in a darkened theatre, the lights were on, and there was a microphone at the back of the auditorium where people were asking questions from, and I got this question: who do you least like out of the cast of Babylon 5? I'm going fairly green to the game, so I'm completely on my back foot. Well, I can't really answer that question. And it was difficult because I didn't know what to say, and I saw it was him. So I said, I hate Rick Hicks. I totally detest Rick Hicks, and then a chase ensued. Which apparently everybody liked, and then we kind of did a double act for the rest of our convention appearances. I had a great time with Rick, and of course, if I got any stories about them, they're between me and him. We partied hard. I'm sure everybody else did, but I greatly love the man. He was a great dear friend. So.
You're next over here. Shout it out. Speak.
Oh, sorry. Michael O'Hare, and kind of struggles and when y'all work with him.
He's asking you about Michael O'Hare.
I'll be happy to say it.
You just asked about Michael.
Michael O'Hare, what it was like to work with Michael O'Hare.
I think it's pretty well known. Can you hear me? Or should I just stand up? You know, Michael wasn't, he really wasn't well, so, and not everybody knew it, so it was a little difficult at times to figure out what was going on, and that's my experience. I think it's true with a lot of people, and we didn't know that he really wasn't, or not everybody did, and so it was difficult. I think that they probably held Michael longer than he should have been, than he was held, to be the captain and all that, but that was the experience. I think people had troubled experiences, and good and bad, but we didn't know, or most of us didn't know, that he was struggling as much as he was. Like anybody with a mental problem, he was not well.
Peter, as soon as Joe found out, he began to help him.
Yeah, oh, Joe definitely.
Joe helped him a lot. From what I don't.
We were in
I'm talking to a film. Joe helped him try to get some help.
Yeah.
And
I'd like to say something really nice about O'Hare, and that is he had one of the best voices I've ever heard in my entire life.
I want to say, obviously I was in a kind of an awkward position. I had replaced him. It's never fun. He came back to do a two-parter. And I think there were some people who were thinking, oh my gosh, what are they going to be like together? And things like that. I felt, I didn't work with the man for a full year like you all did, but I felt he came back with a sense of dignity and professionalism. I found him very charming. He kept very much to himself. And I thought to myself, my God, how hard this must be in a way to come back. I asked myself, okay, Coxx, could you do it? Could you come back after you've been let go? And I didn't know if I could, to tell you the truth. But I have to give that to him. I thought this was a very brave man for doing this. He believed in the story and wanted to complete that character. And I have nothing but admiration for him for that. I found it very challenging.
I would just like to say one thing that was beautiful. You have no idea what an awkward situation is.
It's not a question, but for
gentlemen, you did not let the team down.
Right in the front row.
I have a question. The episode where the gentleman came from Zahadu and asked what each of you wanted. How, and it just totally gave the show a new direction. How did each of you feel about what you were going to do, or how it affected you, the shadows showing up?
Wow.
That's the first question.
My response to that is that I played the show one episode at a time, just like you guys saw it. I got it, and I would play it, and then I would hope that there'd be another episode. So I was never looking ahead or playing ahead. I was always right there. I mean, that's how I played it. So.
You know what I wanted? I wanted to kick the living hell out of those shadows. Is what I wanted. That's the way I played it for that entire season. I just wanted to kill them all. Let Balin sort them out.
Joe said something very interesting to me. I was trying to learn to write. I was trying to transition. I was working on scripts. And I went into his office and I said, you know, will you mentor me a little bit? And he said, sure. And he goes, remember one thing. There's the story you write. There's the story you shoot. And then there's the story you edit. Because there are so many cooks in the kitchen when you're trying to make a series that you don't always get everything you want. He was very powerful. He's a very powerful man and a very powerful writer. But you have to answer to certain budgetary constraints and other things. So what you end up seeing may be not what he saw in the bathroom, where he had his epiphany in the shower, and saw Babylon 5 en masse in his mind, but he did the very best he could to bring his story to life. And remember, they kept trying to cut him out and say, you're done, you're done, you're done. So he had to keep changing that 5-year arc, which is extremely hard. So there is no way to play it except every time you get a script, you go, okay, Matt, really? All right. So why didn't you? And the cast members leaving, and you don't always get.
That's why I played it full speed ahead. I mean, whatever was coming at me, I was going to do it. I never looked ahead, like Peter said. We never looked ahead in script. I didn't want to know that. Sheridan didn't know what was coming. Bruce Boxleinter didn't know what was coming. I treated it the same way. I was surprised every week, wonderfully surprised, by the way, for the most part, and played it as it came at us. You know. Boy, yes.
The chalet.
Yes.
A question for Tracy. You mentioned being in an awkward situation. When was that? And you talked in August about how difficult it was for you coming onto the show. When was that first moment you realized, okay, they've accepted me as the captain? When was that kind of epiphany for you that the fans had accepted you?
I'll let you know when that happens. No, I said it the other day. I felt that the Neal Gaiman episode was kind of a turning point for Logley and for Tracy, and because it humanized her. And I think I've said this before, but indulge me please. My father had a saying, show people your strength and they'll take notice, show them your weakness and they'll take heart. And I think that's what happened. And thank you for that. And I felt that it was a change, a sea change on the show and in fandom, because I would read the posts and go to sleep crying every night. Because I was a fan before I was a 4-year fan.
Sir?
First off, I'd like to welcome back Tracy, Marshall, Jason. Thank you for bringing the rest of these guys with you.
How dare you?
My question really is for Claudia and Andrea.
about their weight problem?
When you look at shows now like Lost World and Defiance, and even straight dramas like Grey's Anatomy, do you feel like you guys were setting in motion something with the relationship that your characters were building?
I think Joe, in my opinion, made it one of the most beautiful, subtle relationships, and what was great was that it was never noted as a gay relationship. It was simply accepted that it was omnisexual.
It was two people.
Yeah, it was two people in love. And there was no, they had the big kiss on Deep Space Nine, and he deliberately made it that she woke up in my bed. So it was implied. And that wasn't just because kids were watching the show, because he felt that it was deeper that way. And also that it shouldn't be something that people note. Your sexuality shouldn't be of note in the future, that it wasn't a big deal to live on and live bisexual. So I thought that was really classy.
And I do think that things have come around, that we do see a lot more of that now, where we're seeing, these relationships are being honored for what they are. But it's really easy to forget that it wasn't that long ago when you couldn't see a loving relationship between two men, or a loving relationship between two women, or an interracial couple. But he did go about it with a delicacy that was not about exploiting it, and it wasn't about getting ratings. It was about doing it justice and doing it honorably. What?
We never got those.
And then Joe always said it was about his inner teenager as well. There's always that. Yeah, I think it ended up in a book somewhere, didn't it?
Yeah, the whole comment about Joe observing people and putting things into the scripts based on our personalities. What?
Like your camera stuff.
Oh. Just now?
You have to just stop when Andrea was talking. Says press starts up to activate.
Is that a question, or are we just trying to figure it out?
Oh, anyway, where was I? Oh yeah, so we were making out on set one day, just because of Joe, and I think Joe saw that and he got really excited, and that's why he wrote that. So all of that politically correct, diplomatic shit I was talking about before, you can just forget about that. A horny middle-aged man wrote that. Just kidding. I mean, and the fellow who he is Pat is now, look at him. Somebody get this man.
Next question, let's go.
This one's for Jason.
Me again?
Yeah, sorry.
I can't think.
I'm a big.
Coming up and going away.
Oh no, not here.
You did it very well. I mean, it's really well.
Oh, thank you very much.
But what were your thoughts when you saw the script and you saw that you had?
Well, it was ridiculous because, of course, as everyone's pointed out, as much as you didn't look ahead, you couldn't look ahead because, or as far as I was concerned, at my level in the cast, the script would arrive at the door from a motorcycle dispatch rider. It sounds exotic, but intellectual property you don't put in the mail. So the script arrives, this is something that hasn't been made, so ding dong, and knock on the door sounds more dramatic, doesn't it? But ding dong, open the door, guy in leather, hands you his package. Oh great, I wonder whether I'm in this one. You open it up, and oh I am. What the hell is this? Sheet music? A Pirates and Pantomimes. So I read the script and no way! And I got to learn Modern Major General. And everybody thinks for some reason, because the way it was aired over the credits, that it was somehow a blooper reel. I made it up, yeah. No, I did that. And I learned all the... So I was actually very annoyed when they cut before I got to the end because I learned every bloody word.
How much do you remember?
Can we have it?
No, I did it at my panel. I'm not going to do it at theirs. Not fair. In memory of Rick Biggs telling me to shut up, I'll shut up.
Wait, I want to recognize people right there with the spikes. I love them.
Speak up. My question is for as many of you as have an answer. What was your most hilarious moment on set, like blooper-wise?
Besides breaking out in the middle of a rubber suit?
Well, I had a doozy. We wore links on our wrists, right? Our communication links. And we had a big scene. All of us were in there. Claudia, do you remember this? And my link.
Yes.
Supposedly I'm being contacted from CNC, and I said, Sinclair. Everybody looked at me on stage like, what? Sinclair. Yeah.
So we're working on the White Star, and it was oppressively hot. It was summers out where we were working, and we were in a little hot tub factory. It wasn't a real studio, so it got really toasty in there. And one day there's this scene, and I'm piloting the White Star, and Claudia we're in a type 2 shot, and it's like, okay, action, and we're a second into the shot, and Claudia's like, God, your bone stinks! Stinky bone. I had to be there.
Started putting on, like, what was it?
Old Spice.
Old Spice!
So I did one, you remember Peter O'Toole in My Favorite Year? I love it, God rest his soul. Okay, so I'm doing the news anchor thing, and there's a word that comes up, and I must have stumbled on it, because there's something about the planet Octor, and I just looked up and I went, into the camera, Octor? Octor? I'm not an Octor, I'm a Skrull!
You in the uniform. With the dolls.
One of the most beautiful things about Babylon 5, I think it's the relationships and the love story. The epic love story between Dylan and Sheridan, I think all touched us so much. And
Easy.
Children here. Somewhat of a request as well as a question. Could Mira sit beside Bruce?
Mira. And what would you have us do?
Just reminisce on maybe the time you worked together, maybe your favorite scene or your most touching moment.
I'll come to you, Mira.
Maggie,
if
come
you
to me,
want.
Maggie, swap it. I leave you.
Is this wife swap? No.
Mira, what do you want to say?
I remember the day that Bruce came to the set, the first day, Bruce's first day on the set. And I was in the makeup trailer, and Billy Mumy comes into the trailer. And I say, how is he? And Billy says, he looks like a god.
Boo-hoo.
You know what, for me, of all the scenes that we did, we had some marvelous scenes in bed. We had some marvelous scenes in bed. Do you remember the bed, the Mimbari bed? It was on a slant. You know how agonizing that was for my long legs? To keep her head and my head on an equal thing. Look at the difference here right there. Huh? Easy. I would keep sliding down the bed. I couldn't stay. Well, I don't sleep in a Mimbari bed. But I think my favorite part was sleeping in light. The final scenes with Sheridan and Dylan. My favorite shot, her sitting there, profile, and then I sort of leaned forward. Sheridan's already gone, and sort of his spirit there. I think it's one of the best shots that ever happened. I still give it Sheridan. We're watching the sunrise, and you know that she's sitting there alone. The last scene when we said goodbye, all of those scenes were really, I think, some of the best stuff we ever got to play.
It was incredibly touching and moving, and we were all in tears. And it somehow, it was the end of the show also.
Yes.
So there was this method moment. It was really the end.
Yeah, it wasn't hard to come by. I know he didn't want us to cry, and it was
almost
impossible. We were trying not to, and that's always the most traumatic, when everything you do to try to stop from crying and still those tears start to see the eyes drop. But it was because we had the entire, like the crew, the wardrobe girls, people who wouldn't normally be on set or necessarily right there. They were under the cameras. They were wherever they could watch, because we all thought this was the end. And we got to play those wonderful scenes together. So it wasn't difficult with this lady, by the way. There was never a time. You always hear these stories, Hollywood stories, about people who play romantic couples, how they don't get along, they bicker and fight. We never had any of those kind of problems. And there was never an awkward moment. We just played these people and aliens. People aliens. Huh?
Tell us the juicy stuff about how it was to kiss.
Oh, the tongues. Oh my God. And she had several of them. Tell us about Centauri private parts. Between the two of you, we were like 12?
Well, we got a dozen here.
I've gotten way off the mark. Anyway.
I think the woman in white here had a question. Like that, right here?
Yes, my question's for Bill Mumy. Listen, I adore you because I grew up watching you. I'm that old, I'm sorry. You were just a boy. But how did it feel to go from being a child actor in sci-fi to playing an adult part? And did you have any people on the cast that would come up to you and go, oh, Will's here?
It felt taller. It's all been good, It's a great group of people here, and we all got along pretty darn well, mostly. Ooh.
That moment was.
That's it. It's all good.
Anybody else? Sir?
The movie, the show, was very visually groundbreaking in its time. And I'm wondering, as actors, what kind of challenges and advantages does the show have for you personally, or what's on it? Being in an environment you couldn't see, and maybe some of the sets, and did they help you be in your character?
Our sets were pretty good, and green screen's kind of been around for quite a long time.
I think they were pretty practical sets.
They were pretty practical sets. In today's sci-fi, there's a lot of literal, virtual the sets. But we had pretty darn good sets. We had this whole hot tub factory that was converted into the station, and we very rarely ever left the station. And yeah, it wasn't that hard to do. Even on Lost in Space in the 60s, there was, you know, some guy in a bad rubber suit, but there was always kind of something to look at. It was all good. It wasn't that hard.
I think Peter did the only location shoot. It was out in the parking lot. They threw down some sand on the ground. The camera was on high, looking down at Peter, watching the shadow fleet coming over. That was the big location. They brought the sand and dropped it down there and looked down on him, and it could have been in the middle of the Gobi Desert.
Yeah, we never really left. I'll tell you.
Never left the stage.
One of the interesting things was there was an earthquake in the second season of Babylon 5, and you have to remember.
Left me in the star fury.
Yeah, how about that? There was this earthquake, and because we weren't at a studio, you know, where the stages are like airplane hangars and really solid, we were in this little place, so the aftershocks of this earthquake would really shake the entire building. You could think all the lights were going to fall down, and we were pretty much isolated out in this little small industrial community, and we'd all leave the stage during these aftershocks, and there'd be all these business people from the other companies out there seeing Narns and Marties fleeing out of this building.
They had no idea what was going on in there. It still had Aquatech on the front of the building. An Orange Bang was next door, yes. I think there was one little sign, though, where the extras parked, and it had a little sign and these little figures going across that said Sentient Crossing. Little alien figures crossing.
I just wanted to mention the people who designed the costumes were great too, because that informed, certainly the Centauri it did. You know, they gave us those boots, and I had a cape at first and stuff like that. So you know, they were great.
And Bruce was it?
And Bruce.
She was terrific. Wonderful wardrobe people we had, and they worked so hard.
Everybody worked hard.
I'll tell you what's interesting, again, is in 110 episodes of Babylon 5 seasons, we never had a forced call.
Never had a forced call?
Never one forced call.
Want to explain what that is? Explain what a forced call is. No, you do.
Well, there's 12 hours between call times for an actor without having to pay them extra money. And you think we had such a large cast and all the makeup that the regulars had to go through, or at least some of the regulars had to. But it was a very well-produced show. We never had a forced call. I think we only worked till about 9 o'clock once or twice during the entire 5 years. And that's a pretty impressive record to be said for those guys. They ran a tight ship.
Well, the crew would revolt, because when I was directing my episodes that I directed, every Monday night, when it got to be game time for Monday Night Football, the crew would start whistling the theme to Monday Night Football. I knew, I gotta get this shot.
Mira, what time did you come in the morning to get into makeup? And Billy probably.
We had to be there at 4 o'clock. So we had to get up at 2:30, something like that. 2:30.
Some of us just strolled in at 6:30. I mean, we would have a camera rehearsal at 7 o'clock, so I'd stroll in about 6:30, 6:45, be ready to go.
But I have to say that the story about this God story is not finished. If I don't say that Bruce, that all that reputation and hype was absolutely justified, 100%.
I guess I owe you a good on dinner or something.
She never had a Centauri though, you know?
You're 6 times better than me.
Hello, I have a question to any of you who wants to answer it. Babylon 5 was a very good show, but if you could go back and personally change one moment, what would it be? Negotiating the deal.
Okay.
I think Jason's got this one. No, he was making a joke
I
and
made
he died.
a joke. But you change one moment, what would it be?
Not dying.
Yeah, I have a lot of water on set to put out the fire. I am fire.
We'll go back to contract negotiation for the 4th season.
Remember the time Jerry Doyle was on fire?
Yeah, Jerry Doyle, we had a special effects man. His name used to be Al Boom Boom Johnson. And he was setting a thing where a terrorist blows up, was blowing off bombs in the station. And Jerry and I are standing there, and I'm going to go in and try to negotiate with this guy. And before we go in there, this effect goes off, and part of the walls were on fire, and Jerry's pant leg. And this guy knew who was number 1 on the call sheet. He said, "Everybody okay? Is Bruce okay? Bruce okay? And what about the other guy?" And Jerry goes, "The other guy's on fire." I didn't want to change that at all. No, actually, and then Jerry's his crew chair every day, and we changed it. Instead of Jerry Doyle, it was the other guy.
Bruce, you just reminded me of one. We got a lot of fun perks from being, I mean, I only did one season, I know that, but we got a lot of, and it's been off in 3 movies. But anyway, we got a lot of perks. Like Bruce and Jerry got to fly in M16s. And which is, I mean, how cool is that? F-16s, yeah. Sorry.
We did.
They got to fly in F-16s, and Jerry got claustrophobic and like screamed "penny, penny" the whole time, and Bruce threw up.
I did.
And so, because out of jealousy that I didn't get to go, Bruce one day we're outside after lunch, and some F-16s fly over, and Bruce goes in full presidential voice says, "Look up there, Tracy. That's what we did."
And I was throwing up the whole way.
I said, "Really? How can you tell from here they're throwing up?"
I guess if there's one thing I could change is that Peter and I had studied the Centauri opera better. Because what you saw on screen was like take 18. We just messed it up.
We had a question. Yes, you.
With Jurasik, I know that he himself was atheism.
Can't hear you.
I know that Jurasik, he himself professed atheism, but he had a great respect for all the religions of the world. And I thought it was groundbreaking for Babylon 5, unlike Star Trek, to acknowledge that these different religions had a place still in the universe, and even had, in some cases, a missionary-like presence. Did y'all have any philosophical discussions as a cast and crew?
No.
The one thing about Rick Biggs is that no matter what side you took, he would take the other. So you can start arguing in favor of African Americans, and he'll turn off Ku Klux Klan on you. It was amazing. I said the makeup trailer, him and Jerry and Rick would start to go on something. Oh my God.
The human trailer was the Great Debating Society, and the alien trailer they were listening to chimes.
Next question.
There you go.
Sir.
Yeah.
Babylon was fantastic. I enjoyed the story arc, the acting, and the writing. I noticed that
your characters would start off light and get dark, and some would get dark and get light, and sometimes in between. As actors, how did you feel about this transformation that your characters were going through this 5-year arc?
Real good.
That's a hard question to say because
It's actually an
it's what
easy
we
question
do.
because that's how life is. So, I mean, that's how life is. So we're all accustomed to it.
Well, it was a testament to his writing that each character had a magnificent journey to go through, and that's something actors live for. Oh, beer, my God, who knew you were going to take over the world for that?
Well, that's because it goes back to your question about religion. I was the only Jew, and of course I was going to take it.
We've got time for one last question, so it better be a good one.
In the back.
Go! He stood up.
Stood up.
I know it.
What were some of the best practical jokes?
This convention.
Sure, you were. Stand up.
The jokes that played on Peter and Andrea.
Yes.
Yeah.
Peter's story.
Peter.
No, that's not the last question. Let's get the last question.
What did Babylon 5 teach you?
You just want to run it right down the road?
Ancient friends. Here's what it taught me. It helps to make enough money to get your health insurance every year.
Thank you.
You know, I know you think it's a joke. I don't mean to not address it as a Babylon 5 question. But honestly, it is important for actors to make certain amount to make health insurance. And despite, I really got nothing except, just a pleasure. What did Babylon 5 teach? I was kind of out of the loop. But what it taught me is what a gift. Thank you, Joe, because I'm not kidding. I thought I had 1 day's work. And here I am, how many freaking years later? And it's just an honor to be here. So I guess what it taught me is, I was lucky. I was lucky. And
I think it taught me coming from theater and auditioning for the role of Ivanova and the role of Dylan. Never give up. Walk into every room and offer your gift as an artist, whatever that is, and leave it all on the floor for them to pick up or not. And then you leave, and you might get a phone call one day and go, they need you for a lizard. So, you may not get to play the beautiful, Ivanova or the amazing, gorgeous, Dylan, but you get to work opposite Andrea Thompson and wear red lenses and kick ass. What did I learn? I could go real dark with this. But I won't. I also learned that you have to throw your heart into every single role that you're offered, because you don't know where it's going to go. And look at where this one took us, how far we've traveled. 20 years later, it's just such an honor to be able to walk into a room like this, and you're still interested. It's always...
Never mind. Great trick. I suppose simply it about me at the time, because that was a surprise, that acting jobs can last longer than a week.
I'm going to get heavy with this one. I'm sorry. After losing cast members that were so young, I learned to love and appreciate every single day of my life.
I think that
with good writing and brave hearts and people who are willing to be vulnerable, you can make great art.
Don wants to follow. Like I said, it was my first.
Long hair is cool.
That's where you live. No, it was my first television series, so I learned a lot by watching fellow actors, and I was lucky to be part of a family of people like this who worked on the show. I also wanted to mention Robin Sachs, who also cast. And he was one of the first actors when I was Mimari in the beginning. We had a scene together with Delenn, and I just watched his stillness and how effortless he was with the dialogue, and basically just learned, you know, stole. And great actors steal, and stole from a lot of these people up on stage. Tracy Scoggins, working the close-up. You know, I learned a lot from watching her the first time, and it was just an amazing experience.
I will continue to steal with love from my castmates and say everything that they've said I agree with, and I know that I will agree with much of what's said right down this way. The biggest lessons to me are gratitude. There's so many things I am grateful for having to do with Babylon 5, including all the people sitting up here who are my dear friends. And we do get to hang out and love each other, and then to have this opportunity to be in front of you and to continue to make some money. And like Maggie was saying, how important it is. I don't want to go mercenary, but dude, it's hard out there. So I'm very grateful for every one of you that comes up to me at my table. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You're helping.
Oh, there's so many things you can learn. But I think the thing I've learned the most now is Minbari, yes. To really treasure and appreciate my fellow actors when I'm working in a great ensemble, and not take anyone for granted, because I don't know of another show, and I don't want to be morose here, but I don't know of another television show in recent history that has suffered the losses that we have on Babylon 5. All of them tremendous actors. I got to work with every one of them, or most of them. I would say maybe 2 or 3 I didn't. But to appreciate the moment. Oh, that's what I've learned with this show. To appreciate the moments I have with them. Because they may be gone. You never ever think of that. And film lives on forever. And these people will always be with us. But you know, we do a job, we leave, we say goodbye, and we wander off, and it could be years later if we ever see each other again. So I think that's it. We need to appreciate each other a little bit more, and look into each other's eyes when we're in a scene, and really absorb that person you're with. So.
Now I want to learn my lines.
That's very beautiful what you said. And in when I was thinking what to say, when I really focus on what I learned is the sense of gratitude, which I lack a lot. I see the negative side. I get, I get angry. I get insulted. My vanity is hurt, or blah blah blah. That whole thing. No, appreciate the moment and absolutely the actor, the face, the sincerity that's in front of you. Also appreciate getting a job, because it will be gone very soon. And even if you did a good job, like I think we did on Babylon 5, it doesn't guarantee the next one. No. Especially in this country. So nothing leads to anything else. So that's it. It's happening. Be happy and be grateful. That's all. That's the main thing.
I'll try to be brief. I learned something the hard way. I was new to the internet back in the 90s, and I decided to go into the Babylon 5 chat room. And then every so often, I'd go there and there'd be fans talking about, what do you think is going to happen decks and everything, up pops J. Michael Straczynski on the Babylon 5 chat room. And you know, the fans are going crazy. You know, they're going crazy. And first there's silence, you know. And then they're going crazy, and I was on, and I wasn't using my name. I thought, now's a great time to ask Joe questions. So I said, Mr. Straczynski, who are some of your favorite actors on the show? And he says, you know, he mentions almost everybody in the cast, and I wasn't mentioned. I said, what about Stephen Furst? He goes, oh yes, we like Stephen Furst. And you know, and then the next one I said, the next question I had for him, I said, Mr. Straczynski, I understand Stephen Furst is one of the lowest paid actors on the show. Can you do something about this? And he writes back, who is this? Don't ever play a trick on Joe. I was written out of the next 5 episodes.
Again, I have to follow Steve, you know? I like Maggie's answer about luck. I have always been a very lucky person. I've been lucky in love and lucky with friends and quite a lucky life. And this was just really good luck for me to luck into this part, to have these friends that I have because of this, and so I'm grateful for that. That's right. Gratitude is what I learned most.
What he said. Yeah. I learned it's just a TV show, and to try and keep that in perspective. And I just want to say, in terms of the fantasy world, you know, Earth is the only planet we have that we can really live on right now. So let's everybody please do our best to take care of Mother Earth and respect all the living things on it. Thank you guys for caring about a show that's been wrapped up for 16 years or something. And we all like you.
I'd have to say, if it was one thing, it's about Babylon 5, it was about the spirit of Babylon 5 itself, it was about bridging the gap, and allowing us to reach out to you. You're here. We thank you. I learned that.
I took the question to be a little more personal, but so that's going to be my answer. It made me stronger, and it made me persevere more, because I was determined to create a character that you may not like, but I hope that you respect her and come to like her at some point. It was very important to me because I was a huge B5 fan before the show. Enormous. I mean, I started watching because of Claudia, and I was flipping around and saw her. And I learned eventually not to take things personally, because I know that when I have a show where a favorite character is suddenly different, I'm like, well, who the hell is that? Oh, I gotta try and like her, it's me. So I learned, it Lockley made me stronger. I'd like to be as strong as Lockley.
Again, I was just a blip, but I would like to say that I was taking this for granted, that I did this job a long time ago, this little, blip on the screen, and I just thought it was forgotten, and I thought it was gone, and no one probably ever even knew who I was from this. And then all these years later, I get this call from Tracy, and kindly saying such nice things to me about the way she remembered me. And then I come here and I have people that know this little blip that I did, and I'm so grateful for that. And I guess I took that for granted, but I never will again. And thank you to everybody that did remember my little blip.
Wasn't ending on me. These are such amazing spiritual, emotional answers here. I've been really lucky over the years of working actor. I've been really lucky, and I think
part of that success. At that point, when I did Legend, this is what, 12, 13 years ago, I was kind of transitioning from supporting roles more into leading man roles. And what I took away was more technical acting stuff. Being the captain, being in pretty much every scene, and it was about learning what was not working, what was working for me, and I'm not going to bore you with that, but it was all technical acting stuff that has served me very well, and that's probably part of the reason why I've been doing well since then. And yeah, I'm really, really appreciative for that opportunity. It was all technical stuff for me. Sorry, it sounds pretty close.
Any of those videos if it hadn't been for everything that you guys did on camera. So can I borrow the audience? Would you all stand, please stand up? Stand up.
Ma'am, can I ask you a question real quick? Did you get that jacket?
No.
It took me like 3 times. Yeah. Very tall. No way. Looks pretty good.
Not a lot. I expected more costumes in this line.